Hey guys, Shane here. Real quick before we get started on this week's video, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Do check to make sure you haven't been unsubscribed by YouTube, because it seems that that's been a thing recently, according to a couple of people who've reached out. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. Now, on to the video. Hey guys, welcome back to another Will It Run video on the Trains with Shane YouTube channel. I wasn't really sure what I was going to put on the channel this week. This weekend was the weekend for the North Texas Model Railroad Show in Plano. I did go on Saturday. My brother Chris and I woke up early, made sure we got out there in time to get pretty good parking. As a matter of fact, we were the first people in line at the, let's see, what was it, the south entrance, I guess it is. Met up with one of my subscribers and friends who drove all the way up from Palestine, and we had a good time. Saw a couple of my other friends there that are also into trains, mostly in scale. My friends Tom and Michael, and my friend Jeff, who is actually an exhibitor, would you say that? Vendor. He creates custom transport cases, I guess is what you would call it, and custom transport solutions for train stuff. If I can find his website or his YouTube channel, I will link it below. He's got some really cool stuff, and he's a really talented craftsman, and I think you guys would like his channel if you're really into bench work and woodworking and things like that, because the crux of most of what he does in a lot of those videos is woodworking for these cabinets and layout structures and things like that. So go over there and check him out. So we were there. We had first dibs at everything that was for sale, and I bought none of it. Not a single thing. I went with a bunch of money in my pocket, and I had a short list of stuff that I was really on the hunt for, but you know me, I'm apt to buy just about anything. And a friend of mine put it pretty well, that a lot of people that go to a train show are not looking to pay hobby store plus prices. They're looking for a garage sale. They're looking for the deals. And there really just wasn't a whole lot of that around. A bunch of big vendors were there. Brad's Trains was there. I've bought from him in the past. Spring Creek was there. I've bought from them in the past. Both, I recommend both of them. And their prices were decent, but they weren't the kind of good deals that you typically go to a large model train show looking for. So I went home empty-handed. My brother Chris bought a couple of things. He picked up these two Rio Grande units, SD9 and SD45, both Bachmann, both DCC sound value. There were issues with them, which is why they are on my bench here. I'm not sure if I'm going to post up any footage on that, because it's not really much of an issue. I mean, this one I had to glue this axle back together, and the other one just needs a little cleaning and a service, so nothing you guys haven't seen before. All this stuff, of course, up here is stuff that is getting given away in our 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Be sure to go back and look at our previous videos to find out how to get yourself entered in for that. The Patreon giveaway for the paid Patreon members in the $5 or greater monthly category is going to happen as well. We've already got one winner over there, because he's our only subscriber. So a default win is still a win, and he's going to get a nice little locomotive for his troubles. Every time we have a giveaway, we're always going to have a separate one for our paid channel members and our patron supporters. So always an option if you want better odds, then that's where, because we greatly appreciate those of you who support the channel and try to keep us afloat, because YouTube ad revenue doesn't even pay 5% of what I spend on this stuff. So it is what it is. So what do we have today? So leading up to the train show, I picked up a couple of things online, mostly impulse buys, you guys know me, but not outside of stuff that I wouldn't have normally bought anyway. And I'm kind of glad that I did, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have much to do a video on today. So let's get to the subject at hand. So what we have here is a C-628 Alco Demonstrator. You guys know I like demo units, but you also know I'm primarily an EMD guy. Well, that's not going to keep me from buying an Alco or a GE demonstrator if one pops up on my radar at a decent price. This wasn't a fantastic price, although this does have DCC on board, so it wasn't a horrible price. I bought this on eBay. It popped up at the bottom and one of these, hey, we recommend you take a look at this type of things, and I guess YouTube is, or not YouTube, but eBay is programmed well in its enabling. So I bid to win, and I did. So let's see, where is, stand by. Standing by, keep standing by. Okay, had to find my Rick's pick so I can get the foam out of here. And from what I understand, Alco painted their Century Series demonstrators gold, just like this. It's kind of ironic when you think about it, because you associate gold with value and a high standard. Not two words I would associate with Alco from basically the point of their RS3 all the way through the end of their existence as a locomotive manufacturer. Now, that isn't to say that they didn't have some great designs, because they certainly did. They virtually defined the road switcher market with the RS series of locomotive. You know, instead of having a road engine and a switcher for separate duties, they decided to make one locomotive do both, and it was amazing. What let them down was their quality control, particularly in their prime movers. Okay, when the 244 prime mover came out, and I don't know the exact dates and histories. If you want really good history on Alco, go find the Alco diesel buff on YouTube here. My friend Peter up in the Northeast, he is Mr. Alco as far as I'm concerned. He gives great documentaries on these types of things, and even great documentaries on EMD stuff. So check him out for a good history. He's probably got a good history on the Century series. So Alco was really struggling. GM was wiping the floor with them, with their GP7, GP9s. And when they came out with their SDs, or special duty locomotives, that completely changed the game yet again. Alco had come up with their RSD locomotives, which were 6-axle versions of the RS, and those weren't very popular from what I understand, but Alco really needed to come up with something big and new. So they designed a modern second generation diesel, and they had a new prime mover to go in it. But again, their reputation in the business was already pretty much unrecoverable at that point, because they have suffered massive quality control issues with their prime mover. They didn't have a very good warranty program, I would say. Financing options weren't a thing. If you bought an Alco and you had to send it in for service, you were kind of just left hanging without your locomotive. Unlike what EMD or GE later would do, who had good financing options because of the large financial standings of those companies. But Alco did put out a pretty good last hurrah with their Century series. The Century 420 was pretty popular, all things considered. So much so that the Montreal Locomotive Works, which was a division of Alco, sold quite a lot of the MLW 4-axle switchers that were based on the Alco Century Series 420s. And the 6-axle version of this, denoted by the 6, is 628-2. And 28, if I know my limited history on this, is that 28 stood for the horsepower, which in this case was 2,800 horsepower, which would have been quite a bit more than what EMD had in their SDs at the time, until they came out with their SD40 locomotive, which had 3,000 horsepower and is an absolute legend. So back to our model here, ironically, gold. So now that I've jabbered on way too long about that, let's get this out and see what we got. Get you guys zoomed in here. Pretty decent looking paint job. Not a whole lot going on as far as details go. We do see our number boards have the road name on it here. I just noticed something. Hopefully it's in this packet. And it is. Okay, here's our front and rear handrails. So, decent enough detail. It's an Atlas. It's not a scale train. I honestly don't know a whole lot about these to offer much in regards of what is what. Of course, we know we've got the smokestacks, we've got the radiators. I'm assuming these are exhaust fans for a dynamic brake array, a resistor array. Ooh, looks like we got some free fibers or hairs for our trouble. Something you'll notice, and this is true of the early GE U series, the U-boats, the 6-axle versions had kind of an asymmetrical spacing. I don't know if you guys can tell from here, but the front 2 axles are closer together than the rear is from the middle. I don't know why they did that. I'm sure the information is out there. If I were to guess, it probably has either to do something with cooling or the way the 6-axle truck is trying to negotiate a curve, as opposed to a dual axle truck. It's hard to get this thing to show up right because the paint job is so shiny and gold. It's fancy. It's so beautiful. We've got our 3-chime horn here. Casting doesn't look very good on that. Maybe a slight bit tweaked. I'm not going to mess with it because the more you mess with it, the more likely it is to break off. And this is not going to be something that I'm going to be running a whole lot. We've got the characteristic flat end on here instead of the more pointed end like your, well, like your GP and SD does. Easy spotting feature for the Century series is the dome cab. Something you don't see a whole lot of on the rails. The Delaware and Lackawanna has quite a few Century series. I think they're one of the biggest rosters of Alcos still operating, if I'm right. So it looks like there may be a little bit of use, definitely a little bit of fibers or hair or something on here. Looks pretty good. I don't know, guys. As far as demo units go, I think the solid gold is kind of gaudy. I much prefer EMDs and GE's demo colors, but you know, Alco was always looking for a way to make an impression. So now that we have talked way more than we needed to about the Alco 6 series, I guess you call them the 6 series, Century series 600s, let's see if we can find a test track, plug her in, see what it does and what it does not do. I will see you guys over there. All right, we've got the portable executive switching layout set up here on the disgusting workbench. Pulling DCC duty today. It's the good old NCE power cab. You guys who are into DCC know all about the NCE power cab. It's a really, really, really good basic system. It should be baby's first DCC system, as far as I'm concerned. That, and I couldn't get my DCC EX set up, at least the one that I had grabbed, to work correctly. It kept wanting to drop connection with my phone. So I'm going to have to troubleshoot that or just erase the config and start over from scratch. It's not a huge deal. So anyway, I tried picking this up on address 3 and it wouldn't go, so I put in 628. That didn't, so I put in 6282, you know, because it says 628-2. And we'll press our headlight button. As you guys can see down there, we have lights. So let's dial up some throttle here. Well, I said we were going to. Did we lose connection here? Let's try this again. Headlight, forward direction. Here we go. Pretty good slow speed. Dial it up. Little bit sluggish. Let's bring her back the other way. I also haven't cleaned this track in weeks, so that might be an issue. Dial it up. And it stopped. Definitely not the greatest performance. So, am I going to mess with this is the big question. Eventually, yes. Right now, no, because it's late. I need to get this video out. We may do a part 2 on that, we may not. You guys have seen me clean locomotives a million jillion times. It's the exact same thing every time. I clean the wheels up. I may check the mating surfaces. Let me turn off my track power here and get this thing off the track here. Let's see. Yeah, this one uses the copper contact strips, as you can see right there and there. Might clean those up, but our wheels they don't look dirty. But what I have found this to be true of a lot of locomotives these days, especially Atlas is a particularly bad offender, is that the blackening process that they use to darken these wheels hurts electrical connectivity. Let me know if you guys have seen similar. I've also seen to where guys will take the trucks completely apart and clean out the wipers and everything, especially if they're the little cups that go over the end of the axle stub. Might try that, might not. And it's completely possible that this thing may not run very good because it's brand new and was never broke in. I don't know if that's the case. The hairs make me think that it isn't 100% brand new in the box. But the lack of attached front and rear handguards seems to counteract that assessment. So I'm going to clean it eventually. But the big question is, will it run? Yes, it will, thankfully. Not great, but not great we can work with, because not great is a starting point. And it's not all doom and gloom. So, with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me on another Will It Run episode on the Trains with Shane YouTube channel. And before I let you go, for those of you that have stuck around this long, thank you both. Dan Quarterpassi posted a video today as I record this, and it was kind of just a channel update video, plus some comments and things like that he wanted to talk about. And a couple of the subjects that he talked about really hit home for me too. One of those was that he had some people complaining about his videos, most specifically the location and the type of ads he has in his videos. I don't know if this is something that can be changed once you reach a certain level of subscription, but I think he's got around 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers, and he sees the same thing that I do, is that basically the only options you have is to tell whether you want monetization on the video, yes or no. Yes, you get ads. No, you don't get ads. And that's it. So if you want to make money off of whatever pennies that YouTube wants to throw your way, you have to let them advertise, because that's how they make the money. We don't have control over what is advertised on the video. I'm not sure if YouTube slips these in on a per instance basis when the viewer views, or if it's done arbitrarily when the video is uploaded and encoded on YouTube servers. I don't know how it works behind the scenes. All I know is that we don't have any control over it, and for that I apologize. I'm not gonna turn that off because I need every little penny I can get, because you guys know this hobby isn't cheap. And honestly, the majority of the stuff I buy is for the purposes of making videos. The good news about that is eventually a lot of that stuff might make it into giveaways as we reach milestones. So you guys know we just had the we're in the middle of having the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Again, if you're not subscribed and you haven't seen the video on that, go back and look for that video. I didn't label it as a giveaway because I didn't want to attract people that just want to subscribe for the giveaway only. I want to reward those that watch the videos and are willing to watch, enough to figure out how to enter the giveaway. I don't make it real hard. It's not an Easter egg hunt, but you need to watch my videos to figure it out. So thank you to those of you who do. I really do appreciate you. Secondly, negative comments. I usually reply to just about every comment on every video that I get. That YouTube notifies me about, because I have it set to email me when one of you guys makes a comment on that. Most of you guys are really good about being supportive, offering constructive criticisms if criticisms are warranted. I welcome that. I welcome discussions. I'm no expert, if that's not obvious. So, I enjoy the conversation. I am a little far ways out, so I don't have ready access to a big local train club. I've got a couple of friends that are somewhat local that run trains, and I talk with them often. I've got some friends online that I talk with fairly often about train stuff, but I don't have a lot of hands-on modeling experience, like learning from the pros on how to do scenery, or not even pros, just the enthusiastic hobbyist that's been doing it for 30 years and is pretty good at it at this point. I don't have access to any of that, so I try to fumble along with what I've got. So, long story short, if you don't have something nice to say, don't bother saying it. Not on my channel. I want to encourage a friendly environment. I don't want any gatekeepers. There was a time in my life when I'd never ran a model train, and shoot, there was a large part of my adult life where I didn't run model trains. So there are guys and gals of all ages and experience levels looking at these videos and reading these comments. So I want to do whatever I can to encourage encouragement. Don't be a butthead. And if you are, I'll just hide your comments on the channel and they won't show up. I mean, it's that easy. It's one click. Doesn't take anything to do it. But for the small handful of you guys who do comment and share your experiences, what you love about this hobby, or trains in general. It doesn't have to be N-scale model railroading. Are you an engineer? Are you a conductor? Are you a dispatcher? Are you a bull? It doesn't matter. I want to hear about your experiences. I want to hear what you love about trains. So, yeah, that's my little soapbox rant for today. Wrapped up in a Will It Run video on a very interesting unit that I ran across. So, again, I want to thank you guys for joining me on another video on the Trains with Shane YouTube channel. Until next time, stay safe, be good to yourself and each other. I'll see you soon.